Good evening and welcome to this week's The Eye Test. If you haven't liked or subscribed to my channel, please do. I need all the help I can get. I'm trying to get myself put out there, so I can get everybody some cool information and stuff. Uh, Today, I am gonna explain why I feel why we lost. Actually, I know why we lost. Okay, and it's the same reason why we always lose. And first, let me start off with the West Coast offense. The West Coast offense, it's an awesome offense. It is the perfect offense. I've been watching football for a long time, and you see all these offenses out there. Uh, Nobody has had a more influential offense than Bill Walsh and the West Coast offense. It's beautiful when done right in its purest form. It is the most beautiful offense. Okay, it cannot be if coached right. It cannot be stopped. Most NFL offenses run some form or variation of the West Coast offense, like Miami, like Minnesota, like even the Cowboys. Everybody has certain forms of it. And the 49ers definitely run the purest, most old school form. Mainly, I say that in that you need a fullback in this offense, and also you need to run, and that's the key. I don't know if people really understand that about the West Coast offense, but it it is not a passing offense. You pass the ball and you pass the ball. You can pass the ball a lot, but this offense does not work without the run. In the history of the 49ers in the NFL, all those teams, whether it was Roger Craig, whether it was Ricky Waters, or you name it, all right, they had a running game. You can put any running back in the system. Okay, most running backs that are in it, whether it's Mike Shanahan or even Mike Holmgren and everything like that, they can get production out of the running game, but you have to run on principle because if you do not run, this offense is not built to just be pass, 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 which brings me to this game from against the Vikings. Kyle Shanahan is stubborn, and I've noticed it in games that we lose. He is too attached to his game plan and he gets away from the run. There are some coaches, there are some teams that are in his bag, man. They're like in his back pocket, reading his plays. They know what he wants to do. I don't know exactly what it is, but they know what he wants to do, and they can frustrate the passing game. I mean, in this game, literally they were tipping the ball, they were jumping routes. They knew what they were doing. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why Kyle did not run the ball more. Okay, Jordan Mason averages he's like 5.4 yards a rush. They weren't stopping us even in this game where we did everything we could to lose this football game. Between block punts, between the fumbles, the interceptions, we did everything we could, and we still almost won this football game. And they did not stop them from running. So the fact that Kyle Shanahan refused you could tell in the first quarter on the first drive when he came out and we went like three and out that they were on to us and our passing game. We should have went run heavy then, I believe. Okay, it took him way too long. I don't think he ever changed his game plan, but it took him way too long. I don't care that we don't have Christian McCaffrey. The offense works without him. He's a very, very versatile piece. Having someone like I've been praying for like Christian McCaffrey for years because I feel this offense, no matter who you got at quarterback, no matter who you got at receiver or running back, if you have competent pieces, you know, um, you can make the offense go. That's why Jimmy did fine. I like Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think he was terrible. he did fine in this offense because you just can't be bad. Okay. But when you put someone like Christian back there who is truly talented, okay, that changes the game because the system already works with just regular dudes back there. When you get someone that you can move around like a queen on a chessboard, okay, that makes it really hard for defenses to do their keys. You know, which is another thing. When you take Christian out of the equation and they don't got to worry about him lining up at receiver, they don't got to worry about him moving around. Okay, it's that much more. The impetus is even more on Kyle to establish the run. They have to establish the run because they're just going to sit back on those routes uh, and wait for these receivers, which brings me to another problem. I love Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. I like Debo. I like Ayuk. I like Juszczyk and George Kittle. I think Brock Purdy is an excellent quarterback. Okay. Before I get to any criticisms, let me just say that I like this team. We are good enough to win, but we do not have talented enough receivers to play a spread passing game. Debo and Ayuk are not running away from anybody. Jennings is not running away from anybody. These guys are solid. They're decent fast. They're not fast. They're decent fast. Okay, so you're not going to get into a spread game and just run corners and everybody around if you don't have a running game. Okay, they're not talented like that. You have to run the ball. You have to run the ball to get those dudes hesitant and get those receivers space because that's all they did. We weren't really running. They weren't really worried about us running, and they were just jumping routes. They were just waiting for screens. All they did was really just keying on Debo because they know Ayuk wasn't really doing anything. I don't even know why they didn't involve Kittle more. He seems like the only receiver that's really kind of in shape and no one's really paying him attention. Juwan Jennings is good, but he's third in Juwan. I don't know if he can handle a bigger workload, but they're all over Debo. They are all over Debo. They're taking Debo away, and they're basically daring everybody else at receiver to beat them. And if we don't run the ball, uh, the offense is going to be successful. And that's what happened. And I know Kyle knows that. I know he knows that. And that's what was frustrating because he did the same thing in the Super Bowl. He got to like the third quarter and forgot he had a running back in a running game and just stopped running. And he does it all the time. I don't know why or what it is. He gets discombobulated. He did it in the first Super Bowl when they had a lead. All of a sudden, he doesn't know how to like call plays. And my thing is, man, if you've got a lead and you can't, your passing isn't working, if the defensive linemen are batting down balls, that means they are waiting, they are anticipating you throwing the ball. They know you're throwing the ball, man. Anytime I see a game where D line is got their hands up and knocking down passes, it wasn't just Brock. I've seen him do it with Jimmy too. That means they know what you're doing, Kyle. They are on to you. They are on to you. Code red, or what do you want to call it? What was it, Mission Impossible? The list is out in the open, bro. Change your game plan and just run the ball. You gotta lead. Or if your team is just not doing anything, run the ball, man. Slow the game down. Get everybody into control. Get it down to a pace that you can handle before you give up a 97-yard touchdown, which I'll get to that in a minute. You know, uh, it was really really frustrating because I truly believe that's why we lost. We started the game passing. I don't know why he thought he had these struggles last year, so I don't know why he thought he would be able to pass, and he did not, uh, get away from it. Didn't go away from it. He stayed with that game plan, and it obviously wasn't working. Um, you know, I I think we'll be fine as an offense, but outside of running, We need to run with like intention. This offense is built like run to pass. If we run the ball, those dudes will be open. Let's say we can't run the ball. How do you solve this problem? It's real easy. For years, I've been screaming and crying for it. I can't tell you how long. You look at some of my posts on Facebook to all my friends. I've been telling people the Niners need a speed receiver. They have not had, I don't think, not even Jerry was fast. He was underrated fast, but he wasn't fast. We never had someone like Moss. We need a receiver to take the top off of a defense. If we were to have everybody healthy, have Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Ayuk, and we just had one speed guy, it would blow the field wide open because they would not be able, it would break defenses because they would have to respect this receiver speed and leave those yak guys wide open. Okay. Without the speed, they can sit on those receivers because while talented, they're not like, man, they're good but not great. I don't want to be Tony the Tiger or anything like that. They're good. Don't get me wrong. Debo is good in space. Ayuk can make catches, but they're not like tier one greatest of all time receivers. I'm not sure there's too many of them like that in the league right now. There's not a lot of Randy Mosses and Jerry Rices and T.O.s out there. There's some good receivers, but they ain't that good. But we really need someone fast, man. And I've been hearing Larry Krueger say it on his show, and I totally agree. I'm glad that he's been scouting them, so I know who it is. They need to take Cowing and get him into the game somehow, some way, and just send him. He doesn't even have to catch the ball. Just put him out there and run these corners off and let them know that you got speed out there. Okay, because they have to respect it. In this offense, let them mess around and leave him wide open trying to cover one of these other guys. Okay, and let Brock, because Brock is always gunning for a big play. Let him get deep and let him score a touchdown. All right, and they're gonna freak out. They're not gonna know what to do. All right, that is how you really fix this current kind of situation. You run the damn ball and you get you a speed receiver. They need a speed receiver anyway, outside of whatever problems they have. I always thought that's next. They got McCaffrey. Now go get some speed at wideout. Okay. I used to play wide receiver. Speed kills, man. Speed kills, and it can make up for a lot of deficiencies. If you get someone that's just fast, they don't have to be big, just fast and can catch. Like the Tyreek Hill, he's just fast and he can catch. He's not like 8'2" and jump out the gym. He's fast and he can catch. Randy Moss was like God's gift to like tall receivers. That dude was fast. He could catch. He could jump high. He could do everything. I know he's not about to walk in the door, but that's what I feel. What happened? We got into that game. They knew what we were doing, game plan wise, passing, and Kyle refused to change his game plan. He would not lean on the run. Slowly, as soon as all those fumbles and stuff started, I mean, like just all those bad plays, all those negative, bro, run just settle everybody down. Linemen like the run block for some reason. Just run it. Get your defensive break so they can get their head out of their asses because I don't know what they were doing today. If Fred Warner wasn't there, and I think what was his name, Yadam or whatever, those two dudes saved everybody the whole game long. All right, Fred Warner literally looked like Superman. He was out there getting fumbles, he was getting interceptions, he was making tackles. That dude was everywhere. We probably would have lost by 40, okay, if he wasn't in this game. Everybody else, and I'll get past my offensive thing. I'll get back to the offense in a minute. Look, man, anybody who plays a video game and doesn't know anything about football knows this. Anybody who doesn't really know anything about football at all, okay, knows if you are playing the Minnesota Vikings, I'm trying to keep it PG, the last person that should be running wide open down the field is Justin Jefferson. Does anybody even know another Minnesota Vikings? Or do they have anybody else? Who did they think they were going to throw it to? Who did they think they were going to throw it to? Who? How? It's one of those things that like shouldn't happen. When I saw Sam Darnold drop back into the end zone and like just launch it, I was like, who's he throwing it to? I know Justin Jefferson isn't a high look. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't like it is such an egregious mistake. I'm covering him with like four people. He's the last person that catches the ball on almost any play while that offense is on the field. They have nobody else. I don't care if Naylor or whatever his name is beats us. Let that dude nickel and dime us down the field. You don't give up a 90-yard bomb to Justin Jefferson and Sam Darnold, bro. Like, are they kidding me? It was like when Tracy McGrady dunked on Sean Bradley. Okay, like Sean Bradley's like 7'6" and Tracy McGrady's 6'8", and he posterized him in the playoffs. And I could felt my jersey felt ashamed. Okay, and when I was watching that play, I was like, they're gonna be playing this on ESPN like for decades now. It'll be just be one of those things. Uh, not to mention the fact we haven't beat Minnesota in 32 years in what 11 tries. I think it is the last 11 tries in either stadium, and that's a sign, man. The Niners, especially after last year, I don't know what it was. It was a short rest. I don't want to say they didn't take this game seriously because these guys were all pros, but they were not prepared. And I think a lot of it has to do with Kyle and his offensive game plan, man. The defense secondary was not ready. They were not ready. They were not ready at all. The D line wasn't really getting any kind of pressure. And offensively, I don't think that they weren't, we were stopping ourselves. I don't think that they were stopping us. It was just bad play after bad, just like boneheaded, stupid, dumb mistakes that like you could tell, it's just like, okay, hey, we gotta like reset. And getting in shotgun and doing more passes, just keep letting them blitz. No, that's a recipe for disaster. That is like, I don't, they were jumping screens in the first quarter. That is a sign. That is a sign. It's not like an accident. You know what I mean? They are ready and waiting for it. Run the ball, slow the game down, get your defense a chance to get their heads out of their butts because Minnesota was working them. They were running. I don't even know what the running back's name is. He got like, what, 147 yards? They were working the defense today. All right? You slow the ball game down. It'll be one of them stupid, ugly games. Okay? You run the ball with Mason because nobody wants a piece of that dude. All right. I wasn't sure about him. Like, I heard that he was good. I remember last year he was good. I'm like, okay. He seemed a little bit slow, but I'm watching this dude. Like, look, man, he is punishing those guys. They don't want a piece of him in the second half. They are holding on the blocks, hoping that he doesn't come their way because they don't want to hit him. So that is like, like, bro, run the ball. Run the ball, and those dudes are going to be making business decisions, and then you can do all your cute little passing. Uh, and I really feel like that's why we lost. Kyle, and that's also why we lose. Kyle does not make in-game adjustments. I don't know what it is. Every time we get to like that game against Cincinnati last year, same thing happened. That game with Cleveland, the same thing happened. We were in all these games. In Minnesota, same thing happened. You know, um, even in Baltimore, it wasn't like they were just completely stopping the offense. I feel like that's what it is. We have successful plays, so he's like, okay, it's working. I just have to tweak. Like, no, it's not working. It's not working, dude. If they are jumping routes, you know what I mean. Brock is a good quarterback. So to me, I always have like this feeling when Brock looks bad, I don't think it's him. I can tell it's these play calls. It is the play calls. because his they showed one play where he threw it through the middle of the field through like seven defenders. And when you look at the whole field, there was nobody open except for Ayuk in the smallest of windows. He shouldn't have to be playing Madden, the mini drills at the beginning, trying to hit targets, going through seven defenders, man. They know you're passing. They know that you are passing, and they know where you want to pass the ball to. It's quite obvious. You got too many weapons on this football team, and your running game is far too successful for you to be forcing that stuff. You know what I mean? Your line is getting about to get your quarterback killed. Trent Williams missed a whole entire block. He missed two people on one play. He had chances at two people, and he missed them both. All right, that offensive line was getting. They were coming from everywhere. Why? Why? I know if I'm in a game, I'm like, I got my little Madden game on there and I'm dropping back and they're just getting sacks. Hey, I'm not gonna keep doing it. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You know, Kyle should have went he should have leaned more heavily on the run way sooner. It took us way too long to get into some kind of offensive rhythm, and it ended up killing the defense because they were out there on the field trying to make up for what the offense wasn't doing. And, you know, it was frustrating. That was a frustrating game to watch because I don't think that the team was better than us. I think that we were doing everything in our power to lose that football game and still almost won it. So, yeah. Um, Let me try and what else? I was looking at my notes here. Um, when McCaffrey gets back, our offense is going to be. It's like we can win without him, and he's not everything. They're all very important pieces. It's this weird kind of thing. Uh, you could take and have these guys and have a mediocre quarterback like Jimmy, and you can win. And you can take a really good quarterback like Brock and put in some lesser pieces at receiver and at running back, and you can win. Um, you can have success in the running game without the wide receivers and the quarterback, but they have this rare combination of they need them all. They need Debo, they need Brock, they need Ayuk, they need Kittle. He knows how to use these guys. It's kind of like the old school of those Patriots, where you just look at wherever the weakness is on the defense. They have so much talent at the skill positions. They can exploit any weakness that any defense has. The problem is Kyle is too married to his game plan on some things, and when it's not working, he's loath to change it. Um, but almost all these problems will clear up once McCaffrey's back. They're not going to be doing all this stuff that they were doing the last game. They got to worry about too much. Him and Debo, like Debo's just kind of I want to say he's a regular dude. He's big. He's great in space. But without McCaffrey, they can put 4 or 5 people on him and you just gotta keep hitting them in waves like they do. But with Christian out there, they can't dedicate all those resources to Debo. Which is why Ayuk was so successful last year because they're looking at number one and they're looking at McCaffrey, and they got to pay attention to them, which creates so much space for Ayuk and uh, which also translate to room for Kittle and Jennings. I feel, man, that this is a perfect time. I know they don't like to get Kittle out in more routes. Get him in the passing game more. With Debo hurt and McCaffrey out, I know we need. I just sat here and screamed about how we need to run. I think Mason's He's like a power runner. It's weird. He's a power runner with some speed on him. Okay, so get in the eye, put use check in front of him, and run him in between the tackles and do some play action and stuff like that off that run with like Kittle moving. They can't. He's a mismatch. They're mismatches. There's it would have worked last week with Debo with Ayuk, and then I don't know who they're going to put up. I like Jawan Jennings. I think he's a great receiver. I think he was MVP of that Super Bowl. So I don't know who they're going to do this week. We have a lot of Ricky Pearsall's. Uh, he had that he got shot, so he's out. Uh, I don't know if they're going to call up Cowing. I'm trying to remember who would be next up. Who's after Jawan? I know we got Conley and I think Ronnie Bell, but I don't know. I just bring up that rookie, man. Bring up that rookie. Put him in at 3. Ayuk's at 1. Put Jawan. I I know I sound crazy. Put Ayuk at 1, Cowing at 2, and leave Jawan at 3. You know, I don't know how well the rookie knows the plays, but leave him at the third wide receiver. He's always open. I don't get it. I know it's because everybody else is so talented. He is clutch. That he has. I think he's our best receiver. People can tell me I'm crazy. Jawan Jennings is our best receiver. He's our best receiver. I'm talking about hands. He's the best. He can run and catch, and he's probably the most clutch hands receiver we got. Debo's good, but I'd rather them throw it to Jawan Jennings than give it to Ayuk and Debo. Uh, and I had a feeling in the Super Bowl he was going to be large. So I don't know about this week. I like him on those third string guys. I don't know about these number 1 and number 2 corners. Everybody's been saying that our receivers don't get separation. Like, duh, it's been like that for years. It's always been that way. And we've never been fast at receiver. It's the offensive system that works. That's why when we get against in the playoffs against these tougher teams, like when we were in that NFC Championship against the Rams, when we get out there against like Baltimore and everything, when you have a solid defensive coordinator that understands what Kyle wants to do, they can shut those receivers down because we don't have talent at wideout. We got talent at running back. Christian McCaffrey is no joke, and Brock is a good quarterback. Those defensive coordinators know how good he is, but those receivers, they're not scaring anybody. They're not scaring them. Uh, you know, I've long said that those guys are. They're like, I'm not hating. They're not solid number ones. Like they're number ones, but eh, I don't know. I don't know if Debo or Ayuk could go to another system on another team and do what they do here. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, so they're good, not great. This week we play the Rams. I, we should kill these guys, but after watching what the defense did last game, I have no clue what's about to happen. Um, I think we'll be fine. Maybe it was the rest. Maybe it was Flores. Just knowing how to defend Kyle is what I hope. I hope that's what that was. I'm not freaking out because, like I said, we haven't beat Minnesota in forever, so it's not like it shouldn't have been too much of a surprise the way they, uh, beat us last year. Kirk Cousins had the greatest game of his career last year, and I think it has a lot to do with that offensive coordinator. Head coach. He knows how to run that offense. Uh, so yeah, and that's a solid team. They did a good job, but we also beat ourselves in every way you could possibly beat ourselves. This week we should get a win. We should. I might do another video before Sunday to talk about it. So yeah, that's my awesome stat of the day. We haven't beat the Minnesota Vikings in any form or fashion since Ricky Watters was a rookie back in 1992 when we had Jerry Rice and Steve Young at quarterback. That's craziness. All right. I'm not saying I believe in superstition or anything like that. I'm just saying probably wouldn't want to play Minnesota anytime soon. Also, since I live in Dallas, I just like to throw that shade out there. When I was doing my picks, I told you guys if there's anybody, any team that can find a way to lose a game they're supposed to win, Dallas always comes through, and they did. They got taken behind the woodshed by the New Orleans Saints, and somehow let Alvin Kamara score like what 4 touchdowns. Who else plays for the Saints? Who else I think they were going to get the ball? But I mean, yeah, go ahead, Dallas. Go ahead. The Saints run a similar system to what we run, and they pretty much did the same thing that we did to the Cowboys. And they got the Ravens this week. So, yeah, yeah. Um, I like the Patriots. Like I said, I think they're going to be better than what they were. I don't know what the Dolphins are going to do, guys. I don't know what the Dolphins are going to do. Uh, Trying to think off the top of my head any other games I can think of. I don't know, but I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, anything y'all like me to talk about, any comments, just hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Like and subscribe to my channel. Peace out.